called back over to Kurgan, told them everything that I've done to the car, and they said try and zip tie open the IMRCs on the car and just see how it reacts and go from there. So maybe the problem with those sticking or something like that. So we'll try that next. So we'll see what happens. Okay, it was a chore, but I got the cables. What I ended up doing was cutting the cables because I could not get down in there to zip tie them. Ended up cutting them, pulling them back, and then pulling the cable up as tight as I could, holding the valves open, and then just finding a way to hold those cables where they wouldn't drop back down. So so they're open now, and I just fired the car up and started to run it, and I'm going down the road now. Just going through the neighborhood right now, giving it some time to warm up, and we'll see how it acts, see if that fixed anything. Also, something I found out right after I did that is I pulled the computer, and this thing actually has an SCT chip in it. So the computer actually has been chipped, and I really don't actually even need the tuner now because the chip in there is actually tunable. So I believe it's the one that has up to 4 different tunes on it, but this one doesn't have the cable to go with it. So if I can get that cable, I believe I can change through tunes and all kinds of stuff. So I'm probably gonna see if I can do that. I'm gonna call Kurgan back and see what all I can do with this thing, and then go from there. So I'm gonna test the car out here in just a minute and see how it acts. It definitely feels like it has more power. Alright guys, the car seems way faster with those IMRC plates open, so I definitely think that they were not working some of the time. So that was definitely part of my problem, because the car feels like it pulls much better now. It's still missing some though. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a little. When I run the AC, it seems worse, and it started messing up again. So the IMRC plates were, I think, part of the problem, but now it may just be the tune or whatnot. I'm not sure. So what I did is I unhooked the battery, went ahead and pulled the chip out of the computer. So now it should be running on stock tune now and not have any override from the chip. So I'm about to fire it back up and see what happens. So we'll see if it fires back up and see how it acts then, and try to diagnose from there. Well, it started, so we'll see how it does. Okay, so I'm back at the house now. That didn't seem to help at all by unplugging the chip. It actually seems worse now. So it's not running any better with the chip out. So maybe it's not the tune. I don't know. I really don't know. So anyways, all right, so I decided to turn off all the lights, run the car, and just go look at all the wires and see what was going on. And ended up finding something. I'll tell you about what it was in just a minute. First, I'm gonna go try the car again. I hate driving this thing in the rain. I just got it in here and dried it off a little while ago, so I'll try it again, but I gotta test it and go see if this is gonna fix it or not. Okay, so that didn't work. So I went and drove the car. It almost seems worse now than it did, which is really weird. But what I'll show you, what I noticed here was these things that were on there, holding the wires. You could see it arcing across the bottom. So as it rested on top of the alternator, you could see a blue arc going across. I tried to film it, but it wouldn't get any of it. But you can see it arcing across. So I thought, well, these metal holders here are allowing it to jump across through the wire and do it. And maybe by taking these off, it got worse. I don't know. Maybe unplugging the chip and then plugging it back in made it worse. I don't know. Maybe the next step is getting new wires and switching these Ford racing wires out. They'll look fine. So switch them out with some other ones. I don't know. So I don't know. Kind of blowing my mind. Another guy in one of the other videos said that he had an issue kind of like this with a Mustang, and his was one of the coolant temps. And on these years, you've got a coolant temp sensor for the gauge and then one for the car for the ECU to read. The gauge seems to be working fine, and then when I checked the OBD2 and run through the diagnostic stuff, it shows that it's working okay. I don't know which ones those run off of. There may be another one, but he said that his car was showing like -40, and that's why the car wasn't running right, because he thought the car was so cold. So still don't know. But that's where we're at. This is it for tonight.